Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports.
Are you really doing season 4 of that stupid podcast?
Y'all know the name of the show. It's Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. And what do guys do when they talk sports at the bar? They drink beer. So if you want to buy us a beer, you can Venmo us. The Venmo is at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Hey, buddy, for tuning into another week of Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, not Swifties at the Bar Talking Relationships. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, we're just a neighborhood friends who get together at MJ's Bar and Grill in Columbia, South Carolina with some brews and a microphone talking about sports. We're going to discuss today, so stay tuned, all of the Week 5 action that's coming up, including Utah versus Oregon State. We got Ole Miss playing. Who's Ole Miss playing? I gotta go down here and find out. Anyway, so we got Kentucky playing Florida, LSU playing, yeah. We got Georgia playing Auburn, the whole 9 yards.
No, in 2 weeks. You gotta buy.
Oh, Georgia's, that's right. I'm gonna bring that up later on. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be talking about that later on.
Off to a banging start tonight. It's all the Swiftie action
on the group. It's got me confused. I thought we were a relationship.
Are you talking about DeAndre Swift from
from the Eagles?
I thought
he's having a good season.
Had a good game.
I thought we were a sports podcast, but we turned into a smut podcast. Smuts, talking smut. Yes, because of my man.
Smut seems a little much.
Okay,
well, it's smut.
It's smut. I think most people would agree that's smut. There was even some cattiness going on in the group. The biggest story.
I think I'm at the wrong wrong podcast. I came for the Guys at the Bar Talking Sports.
Yeah, so let's move on.
If we can just go ahead and shake it off, we'll be able to move on.
Oh, God, not already.
Golly, okay. So, anyway, feel free to share the show with your friends if you like what you're hearing. Keep on listening so you will like what you're hearing, because what we just talked about, you may not like what you're hearing, but feel free to share the show with your friends. We have a Facebook group called Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Feel free to join that as well. Share that with your friends. Always love having people support our drinking habits, so if you want to do that, you could buy us around just by Venmoing us, which is at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Julie Whaley hooked us up with some money, so I'm going to go ahead and help our bar tab with that as well. You're an amazing person. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
To Julie.
Let's go ahead and do some introductions, shall we? We have the Chief.
Hey there.
What are you drinking, Chief?
I am having Columbia's finest tap water.
Nice, I love it. And we have the Rebel. What are you drinking, Rebel?
Makers as always.
I don't even need to ask you. I keep forgetting that. So I think we have finally sealed the contract with Ripper the Predictor. It's a very expensive contract.
Two beers.
Thank you for coming on in, Ripper. What are you drinking?
Legal Remedy White Mocha Stout, and it smells amazing and it tastes even better.
We have a full house here. We even got Rooster here tonight.
Rooster.
What do you got, Rooster?
Just a little bit of the. I had to switch over to Makers there. You had a small supply chain issue here at MJ's, but still some bourbon online. So we switched from Bullet to Makers, and that's okay.
And Chopper, what do you got, man?
How's it going? We got some Corona Light. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
Yeah. You are the star.
Are we going to be alluding to other songs by this lady?
He's the guy at the bar talking Swift. That's him.
Guy at the bar talking Swift. Got it. And we have Cheeks. What are you drinking, Cheeks?
I'm drinking ginger ale because I had a 72-hour drink fest this weekend camping.
Oh, that sounds amazing. All right.
Yeah.
2 hours.
72, yeah, and I heard it was a good time.
It was a good time, a little too good. Yep.
Word of the day. So we have been doing this for the last several weeks now. The word of the day, and that's going to allow us to look back on last week's games, right? Week 4 games. And some of those words may describe a game. It may describe a player's play. It may even describe something that happened over the weekend that you just want to talk about. I don't know. So let's go ahead and jump into the word of the day. We're going to do the first word of the day, and it's going to be unexpected. What was an unexpected thing that happened in football last week?
How about Clemson leading or tied with FSU the entire regulation time? FSU wins in overtime by a touchdown, but...
Yeah, I think that was unexpected, but I said last week that I think that might be a potential upset for the week, and it was on track to be. I see Ripper here nodding his head. What do you got for me, Ripper? Unexpected.
Unexpected for me this past weekend was Ryan Day calling out 137-year-old Lou Holtz because former Notre Dame head coach Lou Holtz said that Notre Dame was the better football team. Well,
why would he say that?
Exactly. Unexpected to hear the head coach of Ohio State call out an elderly former coach.
He sounded like a 3-year-old having a tantrum.
But you know what? He backed up his guys, so good for you. Unnecessary, unexpected.
What do you think, Rebel? You got an unexpected one for me?
Unexpected is, I say 5. Some people would say 6. Blue blood basketball team being undefeated. The 6th one, Syracuse, really is in football. I don't know if they're blue blood, but we'll throw them in for a minute.
Yeah.
They call blue blood because they're blue. You got Kansas, UNC, UCLA, Kentucky, and Duke all undefeated in football. This isn't basketball season. So that's very unexpected. And throw Houston at 3-0 as well if you want.
So let's switch that around a little bit and say what was expected last week, Chopper.
Oh, I
what
gotta
was
get.
this?
Let me go with expected. Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks. I expected that.
Yeah.
Right? Unexpected, though, I got to go with the hometown team with Spencer Rattler going 14 for 14 in the first half.
That was
18 for 20 for the game.
Did not expect that, though. First half, man, he was perfect. He was on.
Yeah, he's definitely on fire right now.
He's on fire.
Completely expected was that Colorado. I agree. Like, I know that a lot of people were thinking that Colorado. I mean, I don't think anyone at this table was thinking that was going to happen, but there's a lot of, drive-by sports fans that aren't really sports fans that were saying there's so much going to happen with that program this year. It's going to happen.
Right. I mean,
it's going to happen.
It was a good story. It's still a good story, but now we can temper back down to realistic expectations for the rest of the season.
You have a charismatic leader over there. He said, get us now because this is the worst we're going to be. And I think that's true. I think that next year he keeps on recruiting. He keeps on getting the people from the portal. And it's going to be completely expected for them to have a good season next year and a better season.
Unless he leaves for like an SEC team or something like that.
Cheeks.
Something like that. Yes.
What were you saying damn about Cheeks? Damn.
Damn was who forgets to count their players at the end of a football game? Let alone any time during a football game. To have a game that close between Notre Dame and Ohio State, how did they screw that up?
Hold on. The picture that you're saying that there was 10 people on the field?
Yes.
The last 2 plays.
Yep.
Last
Notre Dame was short a player.
Are you sure of this?
Yes.
Okay, because I counted the Ohio State players, and it looked like there was 10 on the field as well, so I was thinking it was a camera.
So in that picture, like in the cursor that was in the middle of the screen, it's covering up one of the slot receivers.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Basically, they ran where the defensive end should have been that wasn't there for the winning touchdown.
Well, that'll make you say damn.
That's smart football right there.
Yeah. I think that'll make you say damn if you didn't have all the way
Damn.
down.
Well,
It made me say,
Especially with a game that big.
Well, as I said, basically, if you look at the play calling late in the game and you look at something as procedural as having enough people on the field, the game was too big for that coach at this point in his career. He's a young coach. He made young coaching mistakes, and hopefully he'll learn from it.
this isn't a segment for that, but the more that you say, the less I know. I do not agree. I think Marcus Freeman is a great young coach. I don't believe that
But a great young coach. He's only been there for this is his second season there. He's going to make mistakes. The crowd around, not the crowd, the support staff around him. Same thing. They're all new.
When you say the moment was too big for him,
it was too big for him at this point in his
implies
career.
that he's not ready for that position.
At this point in his career, you're right. That game.
Those aren't my words. If you've got a head coach you're relying on to count the players on the field, he's got a defensive coordinator and defensive coordinator coaching team.
Well, he knew that there were 10 players on the field. He made that decision instead of taking a penalty and pushing them to the half-yard line.
It should have never been there. It should have never been there. You got a defensive guy up in the box. Yeah. That's his job every play. Count players, count players, count players. Your safety's supposed to stand in the back and count players every play. That is just a coaching breakdown. Somebody forgot to do their job, and that's all I'm saying.
I mean, they should have.
You don't like Ohio State.
I don't give a rip about Ohio State.
They should not have been at the 1 yard line in the first place because there was just a lot of mistakes that led to that. Anyway, you have a very capable offense in Ohio State. You're going to go to the 1 yard line, expect to win the game still. That's not happening for sure. But what were y'all saying I told you so about last weekend? Everyone's raising their hand on this one. I'm gonna let you go first, Chief.
Well, it's a gimme. Oregon over Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was saying that. I mean, that's just something that I told you so. It's not even rubbing it in someone's face at this point, right?
Right.
But like I said earlier, it's going to be one of those where, they're going to get better. I could see it. I said that last year, right? Recruiting for Deion Sanders would be no problem in Power 5. So.
Well, and if you look at even what he's doing with Hunter, I mean, he's been very vocal about making sure that he takes care of himself. Hunter wanted to play. He's telling him no, stay on the field. He's showing young players that he cares about them, not just the game. And that is just as powerful as any media outlet that he's got control of right now.
That's true. He hugs his players. He treats them all like they're his kids.
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them are.
A couple of them are.
That's true. So there's got to be a player that's in beast mode right now. What player out there is in beast mode right now?
Spencer Rattler. I mean, that's again. He's quietly putting up some stats, even though their record doesn't show what he's been able to do on the field yet. But everybody said his offensive line was so terrible he's going to run for his life, and after that first game, they've kind of settled down a little bit and allowed him to do what he's doing. Now they got to get the defense right.
Yeah, well, second half versus Georgia, he was running for his life. I was at the game, so they got away with one in having a close game in Georgia. But you're playing against obviously one of the top tier defensives. That was expected against Georgia, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised to see a little bit of pass protection. And a lot bit of accuracy out of Spencer Rattler for sure.
Now I noticed nobody has mentioned anything about the Alabama-Ole Miss game.
That was
that should be.
I told you so.
That should be your I told you so, Chopper. Yeah. Because that was a game where I expected it to be way closer than it was. Alabama was able to hold a very capable Ole Miss offense. Like, this is an offense that's scoring 40, 50 points a game, and they held them to 10 points. That Alabama defense is going to win games for them, just like Georgia's defense was winning games for them last year for sure.
Yeah, that one came down to coaching. Right?
Yeah.
So he was not going to put a team out there that was not going to be ready to play against Ole Miss. And you saw the effects of the good coaching, and Alabama will be fine.
I think they're going to be fine. I think they're still a 2 to 3 loss team. They still are. The quarterback question is still there. He didn't have a great game. He managed the second half, which is when they pulled away. First
run
half,
right, run left, just like I said.
So, I mean, if you look at the first half, he had an interception, kept Ole Miss in the game. I still see in big games where they're going to have the capability of losing, and they still got a couple big games to play.
Yeah, what do you got for me?
I mean, are we at beast mode, or are we at...
We can be wherever you want to be, brother.
Well, beast mode
That's in your contract now. You're going to talk about what you want.
Beast mode for me was Bo Nix. I mean, he just
that was
lit up
impressive.
Colorado, and it was like...
Give me some stats on that.
It was like the field had parted, and he said to himself, and now I see daylight, and he lit up those buffaloes.
Yeah.
Dude,
right. You can tell he really wants that pain.
Yeah, he just... It just seemed
and
like...
I'll be honest with you.
Everything went
I'm
right
falling in love, I believe, with Bo Nix.
Well,
he's our age.
Yes. He's 23 years old. We had this conversation already.
24,
man.
I think now.
I believe it was a Tuesday.
But here's one more beast mode.
Beast mode, give it to me.
Really? Ripper over there grinning like a devil.
Folks at the University of Iowa are still scratching their heads today, 3 days after the game. They got shut out by Penn State.
Yeah,
that was my told you so I was going to say, because I told you that there was 14 and a half point spread, and I said Penn State was going to blow them out. And, well, they went about their business.
Yep.
Yeah, and I posted something on the Facebook group about this today. Which of those 3 teams in the East, because those are 3 very good teams in the East, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. And to me, right now, looking at the play, it's a toss-up, but that toss leads slightly towards Penn State.
And
as
right
being
there,
the team
that's
to beat.
one prize I would cheat to win.
That's
Big
what?
Ten. Big Ten. That's one prize I would cheat to win. Big Ten championship.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State's looking really good, man. They really are.
Well, the biggest obstacle, in my opinion, Penn State has moving forward. They have to go to Ohio State in 3 weeks.
Talking about Penn State?
Penn State has to go to Ohio State. They get Michigan at home, and I'm sure that'll be a whiteout game, and that'll be a late game, most
I think
likely.
they only do the one whiteout a year.
We'll see on that.
People can change the rules anytime they want to.
If everything stays the same, that'll be a game day. That's good.
So if they get past Ohio State in Columbus, they're going to be heavily considered at that point.
What if they don't?
Runner. Then they lose, and it's Ohio State and Michigan like it always is.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to all 3 of those teams are really good. Penn State has a great defense. Ohio State showed they had a great defense.
All right, so all
as well.
3 teams are in the top 4 nationally in total defense right now.
Yeah, and all 3 teams are in the top. What is it? 8?
6.
6? Yeah, top 6. So these are 3 teams.
Big Ten looks almost as good as the Pac-12 right now.
Hey, the Pac-12 only has 4.
The ACC is at the top of the cream.
Guys,
almost as good as the ACC.
Like any cup of coffee at the end of the season, the cream rises to the top. So you enjoy it while it's happening.
Just go ahead and put.
Then came November.
Just go ahead and put some paper rings on the Big Ten, because they're not gonna be.
And I think every year around this time, we do say that it's all going to work itself out, right?
Yep.
And it will. It'll all work itself out. Hey, we got lots of talking across the table. Every time you come to my show,
it ain't your
I
show
got a
anymore.
It's his contract.
It ain't your show anymore.
Oh, is that written into your contract, bro?
It is, guys.
All right,
guys, this is not hanger at the bar talking sports.
Oh no.
This is guys at the bar talking sports, and I'm over here talking sports.
I'm gonna pull your microphone, my man.
All right, let's move on.
I'm feeling like we're in the Facebook group right now, getting catty. All right,
Jeez, no,
We're just trying to have fun.
They're still fighting. They posted more fights right now.
Oh lordy.
Yep.
All right, let's
show
move
me the
on.
places where they gave you scars. Okay?
We're moving on to questions from the web. All right. Prime said, "Get to know us now, or get us now, because this is the worst we're going to be." Is he going to be building this Colorado Buffs team in the next Alabama or Georgia?
No.
Thoughts on that? Give it to me, Ron.
No, because he's only going to be there for 2 to 4 years, and you can't do that in 2 to 4 years.
Where is he going then?
Whatever big job comes available, it throws $10-12 million at him a year. Florida, possibly. What's to be another LSU, Alabama if he retires. I mean, he's not going to be there long enough to do that.
He won't be at Colorado.
Colorado is the next Jackson State.
Yeah. He'll be in the SEC.
So Colorado is a stepping stone for Deion right now only. And it's not going to, okay. I mean, of course.
I mean,
but they are moving into the Big 12, and that's going to put some money into their pockets, won't it?
It don't matter.
Yeah,
Colorado's not the prestige. Look, it's prime time. He wants the lights. Colorado's lights aren't so bright.
Right.
You want the best program to coach in the nation.
Yes.
It's going to be top schools from SEC or Big Ten.
Yeah, that party in Colorado is going to start simmering down.
Ripper, I know that I cut you off earlier, but I'm going to let you talk again. Go.
Hey, Coach Prime, that's my man. But here's the deal. Alabama, they have been dominant for about 15 years now, realistically. Dominant for about 15 years, and they're just on the tail end now. They're just coming out of that dynasty era. When was the last time a Big 12 team dominated like that? Nebraska?
99, 98.
Maybe Oklahoma a little, but mostly Nebraska to maintain that kind of staying power at the top of college football. You're not going to get those sort of resources in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
If he leaves Colorado and goes to Florida, are the players going to want to go where he goes?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
As long as if the rules aren't changed, they'll
He's
follow
gonna-
suit.
He'll totally encourage them to hop on that portal.
Yeah,
and go.
hey,
Yeah.
hop into the portal,
And again,
come follow me.
and again, he'll
to
take his
Florida.
top and he'll
Yep.
get rid of everybody else.
But the thing is, he's not going to Florida unless he goes to FSU. But FSU is doing fine right now, right? They're going to be in the national championship game this week.
Yeah, which is gonna cause Florida fans to have a fit over their coach right now and not being in the limelight. Trust me,
I
as
think
an
there's
Auburn
be a
fan,
help
I
on his
understand
side.
what that's like being in being in the shadows of Alabama. So once you're in the shadows of Florida State, suddenly they're gonna say, "Let's bring prime in."
Let's bring prime time, baby. I don't know. I mean, it might happen, but you've been saying this for a while. If you are proven right on this, all right.
Well, put it to you like this: if you were a team that needed a coach, who else is going to bring more excitement to your program and bring dollars that weren't there to begin with into the program outside of Deion Sanders? Look at what he did at Colorado.
He's proven himself to be a valuable asset over there for sure. There are 27 unbeaten teams after week 4. Is there one or two that are going to be the Cinderella story like what TCU was last year? Chief, I'm going to give it to you, Chief.
All right, so I'm not going to. Duke and UNC, Miami, Syracuse, honorable mention to Louisville in the ACC, Kentucky in the SEC, and I know Texas is ranked high, but we weren't expecting a lot from Texas this
Did you say
year.
one team or 20?
So with that, I pause for the rest.
But you're going to take all of our.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
You just
so
covered everything.
I said that Texas was going to be in the top 4 at the end of the season. So I'm going with Duke. I'm going with Duke because they have a relatively easy schedule compared to some of these other teams that are out there.
Yeah.
Like you have Maryland, they're going to be in the Big Ten. They're
Maryland's not
not going
playing
to.
bad
So wait a minute. So you said the next TCU. So based off that, you're saying they're going to beat Florida State at Florida State.
I think that if there's one of the teams out there, I looked at them all. If there's one of the teams out there that can do it, it would be Duke because they're playing good football. They have good offense and a sufficient defense. If they get lucky, they beat Florida State.
Well, hang on a second. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. They've got a huge game that Notre Dame wasn't expecting to be a huge game this weekend. So Notre Dame has to play at Duke, I believe.
Yeah, it's at Duke.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame is coming off of a very tough loss, questionable call at the goal line for Ohio State on their favor, whatever. But
You don't think he was in?
his knee was really close to down. I don't think they reviewed it.
Yes,
well
where in his elbow was it?
But anyways, I don't think Notre Dame expected that. And when we talked about Notre Dame, I said Notre Dame was going to be in the national championship contention talks. But
That's why you're upset.
maybe. But I think that Notre Dame kind of had to check the box after a couple big game against Ohio State. This is no check the box. They better bring their A game, or they're going to lose, and they're going to find themselves 2-2.
Yeah, and I was saying, when I was looking at that schedule for Duke, and we're arguing my point, not everyone else's points, but when I was looking at that, Notre Dame and FSU are going to be those 2 tough ones for them to get through. Jakes, what do you got, man?
Well, I think I should have a minute to speak since I picked TCU last year.
You did pick TCU, so I'm going to trust your word over any of these other schmucks' words.
There you
Sure.
go. There you go. So, you guys, do not shoot the messenger, okay? I'm looking at stats, all right? If any team is going to be the Cinderella team, I'm picking Fresno State,
Fresno State.
who's
Oh,
in the
wow.
top 25
Oh, damn.
now.
Yeah, they have an easy schedule going forward.
I know.
If they go undefeated, they might be like a Cincinnati
Yeah,
group of 5.
Yeah.
Who do they beat though? So
That's-
Cincinnati had a signature win that got them in the conversation.
Yeah, they had 2 signature wins,
Yeah.
I
So
believe.
who is the signature win for Fresno State?
That's what we need to find out.
They'll
if
take
there's
a
gonna be-
2-loss SEC team over a
Yeah.
Fresno State
They
with that
won.
signature.
We'll see them in the Outback Bowl.
I actually have that information.
Ripper,
for
who
you.
do you got for this
All right,
Cinderella
so-
story?
So last year we actually had 2 teams from the Big Ten get into the playoffs.
How'd that go?
When I look at the Pac-12, I think Washington, USC, Oregon, they have a good potential to kind of cancel each other out.
That's true. All 3 are strong teams.
Right. I think they're all 3 strong teams, and they may cancel each other out.
Throw Utah in there.
So if there's any team that I think, exactly, throw in Utah as well. if there's any team that's going to wreck my plans to potentially get 2 Big Ten teams into the playoffs, I'm going to go back to the Big 12. And for the second year in a row, one team is 3, maybe 4-0. Not your typical football team.
Kansas. I was gonna. That was my other one.
They got an opportunity to make a statement win this weekend against Texas. If they can pull off that upset, watch out.
It's rolling from there.
Watch out.
It's rolling from there.
Do I think it's going to happen?
And here's why I'm going to tell you it's not going to happen. Now, the spread was pretty big for Kansas BYU last weekend. BYU is not a bad team, and if you look at 3 quarters of play in that game, Kansas had to pull away in the last halfway through the third. They started pulling away. So I think you got a Kansas team that had to play a full game last weekend. Texas did not. They played a 38-0 Baylor. I think Texas is going to be well prepared for a game this weekend against Kansas, and I would take the points on Texas to beat Kansas by at least 14.
Well, let's go ahead and roll into that game and have some conversation about it then, because that was my next topic anyway. But first, we need to talk about one thing, and that is how we pick things here at Guys Barnacles Sports. There's one person that we trust the most, and that's Landon the Legend,
and he was
right?
5-2 last week.
Woo! 5-5. Oh, wow!
He's 5-2.
This guy is good. He's 3 years old.
You may want to put your money down.
He knows his stuff. So put your money on the legendary picks, baby, and here they are.
Utah, Florida, Kansas, Duke, Tennessee.
All right, so those are your legendary picks. If you want to know what they were, you need to go back and listen to them. But this kid,
I like it, Landon. I like it a lot.
Landon the Legend, baby. Not messing around when it comes to his picks. So let's go ahead. I tried to trick him, though, because his mother said that he goes with the last team that she says. So I said, okay, I got Utah at Oregon State. I got blah, blah, blah at USC at Colorado. I got so forth and so on, right? But then with Florida, I have Kentucky versus Florida, so that she would say, or that he would say Florida first, or that would be the last thing.
You think that's the magic potion to do it?
He still said Florida, but then I tried to trick even further, and I said Tennessee versus South Carolina, and he still picked Tennessee.
Of course he did.
He still picked Tennessee.
You're messing with the 3-year-old.
I'm trying to mess with the 3-year-old. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's go on. So we were just talking about this game over here in Texas. We got number 3 Texas versus number 24 Kansas. Ripper said that Kansas might be that Cinderella story. So that's 2 unbeaten teams, by the way. Both these teams are 4-0 right now. Kansas was my dark horse. BYU was a tough game, as Rooster said last week. This is a game that BYU was coming in there as a decent team, but they're no Texas. They're not. I mean, Texas is a solid team, good defense, solid offense. This is a team that's going to put up a ton of points against Kansas. As long as Kansas could put up just as many points, then it could be a shootout. I just don't see that happen. I think Texas is going to stop them enough to win this game. What do you think about that, Rebel?
I'm not going to go on a limb to say the Jayhawks win the game, but this game is going to be tight. They're going to push them to the brink. It may come down to the last drive or two. And you want me to tell you who you can thank for that? Oklahoma. Because that's who Texas has the following week, is Oklahoma.
So
the biggest game on their schedule.
So you think Texas might be looking ahead to Oklahoma?
Yeah, because that's the game. That's the game of the game for them.
Yeah, but Kansas has I think it's the most returning starters for any team in the.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
This is a team that's pretty solid.
I'm just saying it's easy to take a team who's not traditionally that good to say, oh well, it's a good story. Our next game is the next one. For them to basically somewhat overlook them to where, again, I'm not saying they lose, but this game gets tighter than it should be.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Notre Dame against Duke, now you got Texas against Kansas, same kind of concept. When you schedule those games, you didn't expect that you were going to be in a dogfight, and Texas is going to be in a dogfight.
And if this was at Kansas, I might be thinking chance of upset.
Yeah, it's
in
Austin.
At Texas.
Yep.
This is at Austin.
Their quarterback is fun to watch, though.
Quinn
He's
Ewers
good.
or Kansas?
No,
is
Kansas quarterback.
definitely Kansas quarterback.
Yeah, their quarterback is Jalen Daniels. I don't remember where he came from, but he was he played for them last year as well.
Well, he was in the Heisman conversation early on, and then got injured just because of the stats he was putting up.
Yeah, solid
But
player.
at the end of the day, there's no team that's fearing the Kansas Jayhawks in football. I mean, realistically, they're not.
But then again, are the coaches coaching to that? Because then Kansas will come out there and
Is that a
just
good
lay
thing
a
or a
whooping
bad
on
thing?
them.
And I think they can have a good game, but Texas will do. They'll do their thing.
I think that I think it's going to be similar. Third quarter pull away by Texas. I think the first half it'll be very close to either tied or a 3 or 4 point game. So I think it's going to be tight going to the half. And I think Texas is going to wear them out.
Number 11 Notre Dame at number 17 Duke. ESPN Game Day is going to be there. First time that Game Day is actually going to Duke ever. So Duke or Notre Dame is not going to lose 2 games in a row, I don't think. But they are facing Duke, which is a solid competitor this year. I mean, it's crazy to say that Duke is a solid competitor, but these guys can put up points and they have a pretty solid defense to stop people. The thing about it is that Notre Dame does have a dynamic offense. Ohio State was able to shut that down last week. I don't think that Duke has a better defense than Ohio State does by far.
Duke
so that being said, Notre Dame should be able to score. Duke should be able to, will probably get shut out by Notre Dame's defense because they have a solid defense as well.
I'm just going to toss this out here. There's only 2 games next week where the point spreads from Vegas are single digits. One of the games is the Ole Miss LSU game, 2.5 points, which is basically a pick 'em.
Yep.
Notre Dame is only favored by 5.5. So Vegas thinks that this is going to be a super tight game, and the boys in the desert make their money by knowing this is going to be a close game. I don't think that. I think what Rebel said earlier was that the Texas-Kansas game is going to be tight. This is my tight game of the week right here. I think this is going to be down to the end of the game, and I'm not sure if Notre Dame's going to pull it out. Again, paper rings for them.
Notre Dame's not going to lay back and die on the field. No. I think they're going to take it out on Duke for the loss last week.
That's what I think. I agree with you, Chiefs.
They kind of have to if they want to stay in the picture. I mean, they only fell to number 11 in the AP 25. Yeah. So that being said, there's still a chance for them to win out, but they need to win out big time, like 30 points every game, right? Rip or go.
There was one thing that really stuck out to me. Ohio State's defensive ends really weren't getting to the quarterback that much in the first half. And even in the second half, it wasn't the defensive ends. What I noticed in that game was when Sam Hartman got a little bit of pressure in his face, he was a completely different quarterback. He was quick to throw it away, and he was much less accurate. So if Duke is effective in putting pressure, not necessarily hitting the quarterback, but just making him move around and be a little uncomfortable in that pocket, he's much less accurate, and he's not the Sam Hartman that we think he is.
But he played at Wake Forest against Duke last year.
Different Duke team. Again, we talked about this when, how many 5 stars does Duke have in comparison? What, they have 4 or 5?
Yeah.
So, the caliber is not going to be there. I agree, but this team is playing together. They're a tenured team, and they're playing with heart, and they've got momentum. And they're looking at this like, hey, if we win this game, now we're in real conversation. So they've got a ton of motivation.
Duke does have a lot. Go ahead, Rebel.
I think Notre Dame wins the game if you maybe put money on it and have them winning. If Duke gets into the fourth quarter and with a lead, look out.
Look out.
Look out, because I can see Notre Dame go right into what they did last week, all of a sudden going, what's going on? They get a little rattled. They start doing stupid stuff that they wouldn't normally do. If that happens, Duke may win the ball game if they get into the fourth quarter.
Well, they're going to count their players. I can guarantee you that.
They will count their players.
They will have 11.
They may have 12 and 15 and 12.
They now have a process for that.
Yeah.
So I got to bring up Rebels' namesake, number 20, Ole Miss, against number 13, LSU. Okay? I really thought Ole Miss had a chance last week against Alabama, but obviously I was wrong. On the other hand, LSU struggled against the Razorbacks last week a little bit.
Yep.
So this game is likely to be a fight this week, in my opinion. And you said it. Rooster, that this was the other one. It's what, 2 points?
2.5.
Yeah, so I guess I'm right in my thoughts.
Where
That
is
it's
the
going to be a
game?
close game.
Ole Miss.
It's at Ole Miss, yeah.
It's a toss-up by the boys in the desert. I go with Ole Miss because it's at Ole Miss.
I
That's
just
the
don't
only
see
reason.
it, man. I think that LSU has a pretty strong team when it comes on the offensive side. Defensively, they might have some challenges, but I don't feel like Ole Miss has the defensive challenge that LSU offense. And if it comes a shootout like it could be, boom, LSU wins that game.
I think that LSU did exactly what we were talking about earlier, and they looked past the Razorbacks to look at the Ole Miss game. So
You think they did?
LSU always struggles against Arkansas historically.
Yeah.
Always struggles.
And it
against
was
Arkansas.
in Arkansas, I believe,
so
right?
they always play Arkansas differently than every other team
Yeah.
for some reason.
You know, I get it. Ole Miss underperformed against Alabama. You know, let's not act like this is an open shut case. Ole Miss is still a good football team.
They're a good football team.
Yeah.
You know, and Lane Kiffin's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
He's not the best coach, but he's still a pretty good damn coach.
Yeah.
I give them a good chance here to pull this upset.
Ole Miss by a field goal.
Okay.
Wow. Well,
I mean, that's big.
That's about what they're saying
That's
in
what
the
the
desert,
desert
right?
says.
Yeah.
So,
I'll go with that.
Okay. So here we have pretty much the game of the week, okay? The game of the week. Florida at Kentucky. Number 22.
Who's ranked 22nd?
Number 22, Florida at Kentucky. This is the game of the week.
Is that game on TV?
So here's
Wait a minute, it's the game of the week. Why isn't game day there?
It's the Ray Eaton Sports Channel game of the week. I don't know who that guy is, but he's a terrible.
It's such a
Florida
game of the week that it's a 12
It's a new
o'clock
game.
kick.
Well, okay.
I am begging you to take my hand, and we're going to go ahead and have a walk and talk about this first, all right?
Y'all are underestimating the Gators, right?
Swift.
But Florida is going against an undefeated 4-0 unranked Kentucky.
And I will say that probably one of my what the fuh moments, and we'll get to that later, is why isn't Kentucky ranked?
That's what I keep saying.
I wondered that myself because that was one of my questions I was going to ask y'all
Do you
in
think
this
it's more? Do
conversation.
you think it's more the Kentucky players, or
Do you
more
want me
the
to tell you
game,
why?
or the game?
You want to tell you why?
You know?
Vanderbilt, Akron, Eastern Kentucky, Ball State.
They haven't played a single team. That is all expected teams.
But I will tell you that I think Florida's going to have a wake-up call. I got Kentucky winning this game by 10.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. Is this going to be my told you so moment next week? When
Coming
Florida
back
comes
strong
out
on
on
the 90s
top?
trend right there, my friend.
Yeah,
I have Kentucky beating.
Book it, Daniel.
falling like
Beating
midnight
Florida by
rain.
7.
Everyone's going to say Kentucky is going to beat Florida, but Graham Mertz is playing good football right now.
Do you want to put a beer on that?
I'm not putting I'll put a beer on it, whatever. I got a beer if that happens.
He's going to pay
Okay,
you. He's going
alright.
to pay you with Julie's money.
Exactly.
Hey, by the way,
Thanks, Julie.
I should have 2 free beers tonight.
I got
I
two.
should
have
Jesus.
My brother won one, and Julie hooked us up.
And my mother bought last week, for crying out loud. Like, how many beers did you guys drink last week?
Oh my God. Okay, so moving on.
Is there a ledger?
I don't know, but he's got a new vehicle in his
I'm
driveway.
getting.
Are you auditing him?
Are y'all auditing my paychecks? Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Rebel, hit me up, man. Florida or Kentucky?
If Florida scores 24 points, they win the game.
Yeah, I think.
Because they have quickly becoming lean on my defense, bend, don't break, score just enough to win, because their defense has shown they are not that bad.
Their defense is the number 1 defense in the SEC right now, over
So,
Georgia,
yeah.
who has only played cupcakes. Florida's
So,
played 2 good teams.
If they can find a way to score, like I said, 21, 24 points, they win the game. Kentucky's offense is good enough to score 17-ish against that defense, so it's just going to be a matter of how much of their offense show up. And I also predict Florida will have a defensive touchdown in this game.
They have shown a lot of
because Kentucky's quarterback will throw it up when he's pressured.
He's had 5 interceptions in 4 games so far.
He will throw it up for grabs when he's put under pressure.
Yeah.
He makes some questionable decisions.
Devin Leary, 5 interceptions in 4 games. That's pretty rough for a quarterback. That's 56% passing. Yeah,
Correct.
this guy does not handle pressure well, and Florida's going to be all over that.
Florida gets a defensive touchdown.
Cut him off.
Yep. All right, so we have my man Chopper always saying number 1 Georgia is going to lose to Auburn. Is that next week, right?
That's next week.
That's
yeah.
next
We're
week.
gonna buy to get ready for them. They are coming down to the Plains, and we'll have a loss in October. Just you heard it here first. Georgia.
It's going to be my I told you so. That's not going to happen.
The only thing I wanted to say is this.
They will not get out of Auburn without
Do you still feel that way after last week when Auburn played Texas A&M?
Absolutely.
Did you just say Auburn's going to beat Georgia?
Yeah, he just did.
Yep.
I'll put beer on that. I thought
you were a Gamecock fan now.
Why are we talking about that now?
I only brought it up because because of last week's game. That's all. Because Texas A&M pretty much blew out the Auburn Tigers. So let's go ahead and get to.
We might have Deion Sanders in Auburn.
Yeah.
Let's get to the local game of the week.
Make me feel like such a monster on the hill.
The local game of the week is South Carolina at number 21, Tennessee. Spencer Rattler is completely capable of taking this game to Knoxville and winning it, I think. Tennessee struggles against Florida. I think we might see the same thing here this week. The only difference is Florida has a defense and South Carolina does not have a defense. And you saw Tennessee's offense was struggling against Florida a couple weeks ago, where they were just, making mistakes and all kinds of stuff was going on with that offense. Was just looking rough. So do you think South Carolina can do the same thing to Tennessee this week at Tennessee?
No.
Give me.
He had a great game. I think, I just anticipate that both teams are going to have problems.
Both
moving
teams.
The ball.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do. I really think this.
Now you were saying a defensive powerhouse struggle over here.
No, I did not say that. I think we're going to have 2 offenses struggling against each other on Saturday night in Knoxville.
Okay, so
it's going to be way high score.
I'm just going to throw this out here. Anybody that went to that game, the game where Carolina fans rushed the field at the end of the game against Tennessee, it was 63. Spencer Rattler threw 7 touchdown passes in the game against Tennessee last year. Okay, different year.
He has the corners to make that happen this year too.
So I disagree that it's going to be a battle. I think South Carolina, as always, is accident prone, but I have not seen a Tennessee team take the field that shows me that they're going to dominate this game.
No.
I think this is going to be another battle. I got this one at 31-24. I put it on guys at the bar talking sports Facebook that USC was going to win this game 27-24. I think it's going to be somewhere in that. I didn't pick a 30-something score because everybody else had already picked the 30-something scores. This is going to be a 50 to 60-point game totals.
Are you keeping receipts on this one?
Sure.
All right, so I can see that happening over what Chopper's saying, only because I think that Spencer Rattler has the ability with the corners to make a lot of big plays, a lot of big passes that are going to lead to touchdowns.
Not in Neyland Stadium at night.
Okay.
That's going to be the difference.
I know different teams, but you can always look at trends. South Carolina has never, even in South Carolina's glory days with Steve Spurrier here, could not go into Neyland and win. They couldn't get it done.
I still think, again,
so my point being is with this.
They did 2 years
My point
ago.
being is with this.
I think this is the game. This is their upset.
South Carolina's defense is suspect. We've already seen. Mississippi State pushed them to the brink. If Milton can be accurate, Tennessee wins the game.
If you remember, you actually said that Mississippi State might be a dark horse in the SEC this year.
Yeah, I was completely wrong.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that. I think South Carolina's defense has played to expectation, to be honest with you. I think they,
which isn't good enough to beat Tennessee in Neyland.
Maybe it depends. It depends on what the offense does, and I agree with you. Neyland at night is a very tough environment.
And I think they're going to be a little extra motivated based off of what happened last year.
Yeah,
Maybe.
correct.
I'm going to I got to let Chief get something out because he was about to say something. All right, go ahead.
Hey, when it comes to the Gamecocks, I'm still a believer, but I don't know why when I look at that offensive line.
What? I don't
You
get
gotta
it.
stop.
I don't get
No,
it.
but
Okay.
I think the offensive line shored up enough to give Spencer Rattler the time last week. And again, I haven't seen a Tennessee team take the field.
They got a freshman that's doing great things right now, but again,
I have not seen a Tennessee team that's taken the field that has shown me that this is going to be a blowout and that they're going to take the Gamecocks off the field. I think it's going to be.
when was the
I think
last
it's going to be a
time
battle.
So you
Tennessee's
think-
defense put some fear in you?
So the Gamecocks are the better team on this field.
I think they're going to need some help, just like anything. Mistakes are going to matter. What did the one analyst say? If the Gamecocks don't turn the ball over and they can run ball and they can pass the ball, they're going to win.
All right, so we gotta talk about some primetime football, and that's gonna be Colorado versus USC. So that's the last game we're gonna talk about right now, and what's gonna happen in that game. I'm gonna let Cheeks roll on this one.
Cheeks. I don't know why.
Number 8 USC versus Colorado, like the best team
Do
in
you
the
even
country.
want to talk about this?
Yes,
All
because it's USC.
All right, so go ahead.
For sure.
Do you think they're going to win?
USC puts up 70.
I believe Caleb Williams had 322 passing yards in his last game and five total touchdowns. I think this is
You saw the precursor to this game last week.
yeah.
It's going to be the same story, different book.
This is gonna be a blowout game, just like last week. Maybe even worse because Oregon only scored 7 points in the second half.
Yeah.
42 points or 35 points in the first half, 7 points in the second
Is that
half.
because they called off the dogs?
Yeah,
Called
exactly.
Well, yeah.
But
and they'll do
USC,
the same thing with this game
You
because
know,
Caleb's going to be benched.
And then they blocked
so that
the
they
extra
rest
point
him.
just to.
yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. I mean, I know we're talking forward a little bit, but yeah, the Oregon coach talked some smack about how media and YouTube videos don't get you points. So I think he did absolutely call off the dogs because that game had the potential to be a Miami Dolphins Broncos type of game.
Hey, I'm not here for wins. I'm here for clicks. All right.
All right. What the fuck? We're gonna make this fast. What the fuck, Shakes? What the fuck?
Speaking of Miami Dolphins, nice segue.
Right there with you.
That was my
And
one.
I'm not talking about the floor. I'm talking about the coach, Mike McDaniel. Used to be the ball boy for the Broncos, and 2 years ago when they were looking for a new head coach, they completely overlooked him. Didn't even interview him. Didn't even let him walk into Colorado. And so it was a little bit of a revenge thing on Sunday.
What the fuck?
Ran it up.
All right, we're gonna make these
most points since 1952.
We're gonna make these really fast from here on out. Chief, give it to me. What the fuck?
What's going on with Virginia? I don't know if the water's poisoned. Virginia Tech is 1-3. Virginia is 0-4 in the Old Dominion. James Madison is the story to watch. 4-0, and they're in the Sun
They're
Belt.
pretty good. They're good.
What the fuck?
Former
Rebel.
FCS champions.
Mine is 6-7 post out of 10. It's a sports page. I don't give a damn who's screwing who's sleeping with who. I don't care. Enough already. What the fuck?
Chris.
What the fuck?
Back to our Miami Dolphins. The most points scored in an NFL game ever were 72. You are within field goal range. You got 70 hung up on the scoreboard, and you don't go for the record. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
I got to talk about my Syracuse Orangemen. While they won the game against Army, they slept through the first half. If they do that in the ACC, it's not going to be pretty. They got Clemson coming into town. They're plus 7 points. Don't sleep through the first half. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Yeah, just the overall enchanting effect that a pop star can have on the game of football.
No.
What the fuck?
Travis Kelce jerseys up 438% in sales just this past week. What the fuck?
What the fuck? All right.
DeAndre Swift.
All right. My what the fuck is this, right? I think I'm becoming a Swiftie. What the fuck?
No.
I'm kidding.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Hey,
kidding.
you don't want to keep secrets just to keep us?
Yeah. All right. Last call. We heard it.
Yes, that's what it
we
is.
heard it. So whenever she says last call, we're supposed to stop the show immediately and do last call. Last call. So, has your college football top 4 at the end of the season changed from the beginning of the season, Chief?
Absolutely, my new top 4: Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, and Texas.
Rebel.
I'm only changing out one, and I had Alabama there, and I agree with Rooster. I think they've got probably at least 2 losses in their future. I've got Penn State, I've got Florida State, I've got Georgia. My new one in is because they played them late. Penn State beats Michigan, but Michigan redeems themselves 2 weeks later, beating Ohio State to slip in.
All right,
Who the hell am I? It's Ripper. So I
got too many R's. Rebel, Ripper, Rooster.
I was going through contract negotiations when we did this initially, so I'm going to give you my top 4 now, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. So, top 4 now.
I can tell you your top 4 were at the end of last season.
But we're talking, you guys didn't know.
We did it in the last season, too. I have it written down.
I'm going to go Oregon.
Okay.
Ohio State.
Imagine that.
I said Tennessee, and I'm going to stay with it. Why not?
Why not?
Because they're going to lose this weekend. You're getting cut.
I agree, but I'm trying to stay back to what I picked back in like January.
Stay consistent.
In Washington.
Washington. Wow. Okay.
And you will see some ratings people
Did you have
fall on the floor.
Did you just pick 2 Pac-12?
You had Oregon and Washington in there?
2 Pac-12?
Yeah, Oregon and Washington.
Ripper the non-predictor. He just lost his name.
Hey. No. This is Ripper the 3-beer dip. That about slipped right out.
Rooster.
Stick to the Taylor Swift lyrics. Okay.
Rooster, your top 4 changed.
My top 4 has changed because, like I said, I predicted Notre Dame being in that top 4. I'm going to go ahead and eat my words on that one and throw the Pac-10 in there. Oregon, I believe, is going to beat USC, so I believe it's going to be Georgia, Florida State, Oregon, Texas.
Can you believe I'm Ripper the 3-beer
this is hard for me, but we go with Oregon, Florida State, Michigan, and Texas.
All right.
No teams from the SEC from me.
Jeez.
That's hard.
Wow, that is hard. Hey, you're the biggest homer in the world, too.
Go ahead and beat Jordan.
I'm keeping my USC from the very beginning. I'm keeping my Michigan from the very beginning.
Your Oh.
Well, I picked
Rest of
them.
the
She
season.
picked them. She
I
has the
picked
right.
them.
Yeah, but we can't be friends now.
All right, go on. Next.
Well, then we're never, ever getting back together. Okay? I love you so much. I love you so much. That was awesome.
2 more.
Somebody have a revolver, please.
I remember my other 2, and he just blew my mind. So.
All right, that's fine. So mine have not changed at all. I still have Michigan, Texas. My SEC team was going to be Florida. No, just
Georgia.
kidding. Just kidding. I can't remember who did I have for. We'll go with Georgia because they're pretty damn good. I don't even think they're that good.
Oh, Georgia was mine too. Yeah.
I don't remember who they are either, but we're gonna close the showdown because I drank too much. I think some other people may have drank too much as well.
Why are you looking at me?
Let's go ahead. And close this showdown. Thank y'all for coming back. Listen to Guys in the Bar talking sports.
Take it off.
Swifties.